Hopefully that vision is something that will continue on for years to come, and that roar never diminishes. Now, I am always proud to highlight the achievements of a fellow Queen's student, and I cannot be happier to introduce a true leader in our community. When it comes to the topic of mental health, Charlotte Johnson is that voice. Currently pursuing a Bachelor of Arts in History and Art History, concurrently with a Bachelor of Education in Primary Junior at Queen's, Charlotte has been true to her faculty as she has worked hard to educate and raise awareness of mental health at Queen's. She has been involved with groups such as Jack.org as a speaker with their Talks program, but she has also served as the director of the Peer Support Center. What is more is that what's made me very proud to have her here today is Charlotte has been absolutely fantastic in leading the charge of being brave enough to share your story about mental health here at Queen's. This has helped her to connect with so many students and start so many conversations. And as a result, she has never ever turned away supporting other students. That is why I'm so delighted to have her up here on stage and introduce her as our next speaker. So Charlotte Johnson, everyone.
Wow, thank you so much, Cam. I'm getting a little bit emotional. I am truly honored to be here speaking today. And to start, I just want to let you know I'm not a mental health professional, though I do hope to be one day. But I have had personal lived experience with mental health challenges here at Queen's, and I've seen mental illness affect many of the people who I love. I speak only on behalf of my own story, which has been in many ways a hopeful one, but it's so important that we continue talking in order to build communities where people feel like they can speak up. I agreed to be here today because I'm comfortable talking about my mental health story, and I know so many are not yet. It took me some time to get to where I am now in talking about my mental health, and I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty nervous right now, but I'm very glad to be here. Mental health and mental illness are so complex and affect each of us in such different ways, and accessing support looks different for different people, which is why it can be incredibly isolating to struggle in silence and feel like you have no support network. The most powerful lesson that I've learned from my own experiences is how much listening and compassion have power, and I've also realized that talking about my own experiences can be meaningful for others and also for myself. While I would argue my mental health story started as early as elementary school, I went through one of the most difficult periods in my third year. Before that, I had never really been comfortable talking about my mental health or how I was feeling. I was worried that people would see me differently than the things that I valued most about myself. I was known to be positive, optimistic, energetic, all of these things that I thought defined me. And though I maybe didn't appear different on the outside always, I didn't feel positive, optimistic, or hopeful at all, and I was stuck in a cycle of feeling stressed, exhausted, and completely worthless. I started volunteering at the Peer Support Center, which was one of the most amazing things I ever did, and I saw others open up bravely about their experiences, many of them as if they were talking about their physical health or anything else, just saying things like, "Oh, I'm just not feeling like myself today." After the encouragement of so many friends who urged me to seek support, I realized I could either continue to struggle on my own or I could reach out like I'd seen so many others do so bravely. It didn't make it easy, but it was worth it. Luckily, a counselor was accessible through the Peer Support Center, and it's important for me to note that so many Canadians still don't have access to the support that I received. For all intents and purposes, it was fairly easy for me to access that support. My counselor helped me learn the value of my worth and the power of the traits that I now most value about myself, my empathy and my non-judgment for other people, and my recognition that each struggle is unique and that you never know what someone is going through. In my third year, while I was going through this, I wrote a piece for my friend Lorenzo's blog about my experiences with anxiety and depression, which he shared on Bellette's Talk Day 2 years ago. I was absolutely terrified. I was shaking like crazy before I posted it, and I was terrified about what people would think. In the end, though, quite a few people reached out to me and let me know how much my sharing my story had given them a sense of hope. And it gave me a sense of hope too, and that's part of the reason that I decided to apply to be the director at the PSC. I don't want it to sound like my story of mental health is over. My anxiety still challenges me every day, and it's tough to reconcile because continuing to work through my struggle has been one of the most meaningful experiences for me. It's brought me into amazing communities like the Peer Support Center and Jack.org, and it's also shaped my desire to become a social worker in the future. Talking about my mental health has given me a sense of understanding of myself and my ability to empathize, which defines me so much more than my perceived positivity and optimism that I use to hide my other feelings. One of the things we always said at the PSC was that you don't have to be an expert to help a friend, which I cannot tell you was so true for me. I benefit constantly, and I benefited constantly from the support of others who listened, made me feel validated and important, and encouraged me to seek help. This is where Heather Stewart's research comes in. She developed 5 simple ways of looking out for others. The first one is that language matters. Words can help, but they can also hurt. This is so important to remember. When you use words like obsessive compulsive to describe the fact that you like to organize things, you're shutting out people who might need to talk about their experiences with OCD. Vice versa, when you use words like I'm here for you, you open yourself up as a friend to them. Second, to educate yourself. Take the time to learn about mental health and mental illness. Queen's offers so many different trainings, such as mental health first aid, and lots of groups in Kingston offer Safe Talk, which is a suicide alertness training. Bell has some great resources as well on their website. It's important to know the warning signs, especially any kinds of changes, such as a disinterest in things that usually interest them, or comments about feeling worthless or hopeless. Third, to be kind. This one is the most important one, or one of the most important ones in my opinion. To not dismiss and validate if your friends are having a difficult time. Saying things like you need to relax or just get over it lets them know that you think you know them better than they do, when in reality, it's impossible for any of us to know the experiences of others. Instead, saying things like I'm here if you need to talk and I'm sorry that you're having a tough time shows them that you care about them and that their experience is valid and important to you. Next, listen and ask. There's so much benefit to letting someone know that you care about them, but make sure that you're not making assumptions about how they're feeling. We like to go at the PSC by something called say what you see and not what you think you see. Listening is the most powerful tool we have in mental health awareness, and as a supporter, it's okay to make silence and make sure that you're making space for someone to talk. I think silence is one of the most powerful things, and it's extremely underrated. Finally, the last step, to talk about it. Talk about ways that they can find support. These resources are available on our campus and beyond. Suggest them gently and never force them, as it can seem like you do know them better than they do. Let them know that you care about them and that they deserve help or the support that they might be ready for. Overall, I think the most important thing that I drew from Dr. Stewart's research is that it's important to prioritize empathy and the idea that it's impossible to know exactly what someone else is going through, but just being there as a friend can make such a difference. I want to thank Bella's talk for prioritizing this research that has the potential to keep so many from suffering in silence. Seeing others talking about mental health in a non-stigmatizing way has allowed me to be able to contribute to supporting others around me while still learning to look out for myself. It's essential that we continue to talk, to research, and to listen. There's so much that has been done, but still so much to do. Thank you for Dr. Stewart as well for making a commitment to something that I know can make a difference in the lives of so many. The kind of knowledge you are sharing with others makes a difference in mine. As a Queen's student, I'm truly proud that this research is being done here. Thank you.
Now, I would like to introduce Mary Deacon, Chair of the Bell Let's Talk Mental Health Initiative.